So I hope you're doing well today. Welcome back to my channel and happy spring. Well, I wanted to bake a cake today, and it's called Kentucky Butter Crunch Cake. It looks divine, and I love the ingredients. It's pretty simple, and I'm going to make it an easy video. I've pre-measured everything, and I also toasted some coconut and some nuts in advance. Because I only have one oven, so that way I could just get it done in advance. But I wanted to share the recipe with you. I found it through Pinterest. You know, I have trouble going through Pinterest, and then you click on something and it'll take you to the website, and then I never can get back. I get lost on Pinterest. But anyway, it's called Kentucky Butter Crunch Cake. It's got a little coconut, a little nut, a lot of butter, which is great. But I thought I hadn't baked a cake in a long time, and I love to bake in the spring. My next cake is going to be a coconut cake, I hope. I really have been testing those recipes, and I want to find the very best one to share. But today, I think this is going to be delicious. And I might have to be cooking supper in the middle of this, so I might show you a little bit of that, I might not. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and thank you for being here, and let's get started. I didn't measure it exactly, I kind of just estimated, but it's supposed to be like 2 cups of coconut. I also toasted it in advance, so I want it to cool off. And I toasted it pretty well. I don't like it completely brown. And the recipe calls for sliced almonds. I had just a few, but I wanted to add some pecans, so I thought it would be a nice combination. So anyway, let's go to the mixer. I'm going to be using my mixer. I find it faster, and but you can use a hand mixer, or you can do it by hand, but I'll be right back. I'm going to use, so I sprayed it with that oil and flour spray. I sprayed both of them just in case. I would like to use this one, but we'll see. So let's go to the mixer. There's all my ingredients. First, let's mix the dry ingredients. And I'll list the ingredients for the recipe underneath the description. But this is 3 cups of flour, and I put a pinch of salt in here. And this is half of a teaspoon, this is a teaspoon of baking powder. So you make sure your baking powder is not expired. And this is a half teaspoon of baking soda. And you want to mix your dry ingredients first and make sure you mix it well. You don't want any pockets of baking soda or baking powder. And it didn't say that you have to sift it, so I'm just going to whisk it very well. My butter is at room temperature. It's not extremely soft. It's probably, I'll show you the texture I like it to be. I like it to be, sorry if I make you dizzy. This is my 2 sticks of, I'm using unsalted today, but see when it's still kind of firm, but it's not extremely soft where it's melted. I like it to be, I find the cake come out better that way. So let's throw this in the mixer. And also, it calls for 4 ounces of cream cheese. And I just had some whipped cream cheese I need to use, but I weighed this on a scale. This is 4 ounces. And it's pretty much at room temperature. It should whip up okay. I love that whipped cream cheese, but it's more expensive, so I don't buy it too often. I'm going to use my paddle attachment, I believe, today. And I like this recipe because it calls for brown sugar and granulated sugar. And I thought that might be a nice combination. So I always start with beating my butter and letting it get just a little bit creamy before I start adding my sugar. My mixer's loud, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and I'll show you when I add the next ingredient. My oven is preheated at 350. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. Nice and whipped. So I'm going to just scrape the sides of my bowl, and then next we're going to add the sugar. And some people add it gradually. Some people I'll just pour it all in usually. So I have 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. Here's the light brown sugar. I'm going to add that. And then this is 1 cup of granulated sugar. So I'm just going to add this. Now I'm going to beat this probably it takes, sometimes it depends on the texture of your butter as to how long you want to make it nice and creamy. But let's start, and then I'll turn the camera off. But I just wanted to see you start because my butter is nicely whipped. And I like to put it on high and just get it started. And I'm going to be I'll do this and scrape the sides of my bowl. But I'll mix this for a few minutes until it's light and fluffy. See, if the butter gets lighter in color, and it's really soft and creamy. So now we're going to start adding the eggs. And it's 4 large eggs, and my eggs have been at room temperature. I take them out early sometimes when I know I'm going to bake. I like them to make sure they're room temperature. And I guess you could add one at a time. That's what I'm going to do. I'll just leave the mixer on for this. But I put them in a measuring cup because it's easier to pour. Let's turn it up. But they're pretty basic. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot the vanilla extract. I do have to add that. So I'll just make sure the egg gets mixed in, then add the next. Sorry about the loud noise. Let's turn it up to skint. Now we need to scrape the sides of the bowl and add our vanilla extract, of course. And this is going to be a tablespoon of vanilla extract. You could also add, if you wanted to, a little coconut extract or a little butter extract. I think I'm just going to add a little drop of the, well, if it's a little drop of butter extract, about half a teaspoon. I just like that flavor. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla. And I love the vanilla bean paste. This is one of my favorites. I have 2 brands I actually like to use. And I'm just gonna, I just kind of eyeball it. It's a tablespoon. The vanilla bean paste is just beautiful. I just love it. So let's mix this in, and then we're gonna start adding the flour. And 1 cup of buttermilk. I also took that out in advance. 3 cups of flour. And remember, I have all the dry ingredients mixed. So we're going to alternate the flour and the 1 cup of buttermilk. And I just kind of guess. I kind of run out of patience sometimes. And I'm going to I just do this, and then I turn it on. And I turn it on low because you don't want the flour to fly. And I think I have maybe a tiny bit extra buttermilk. It was kind of foamy. And this is whole fat buttermilk. You can use low fat. I prefer the full fat buttermilk when I can find it. So I just put that on low. Let's add a little bit more flour. I've seen this recipe before. I've always wanted to try it, but I never have tried it. It's gonna have a delicious glaze on it too. A little bit more buttermilk. I love that thick buttermilk. I need to make some biscuits with it. A little flour. I'm gonna have to do my bowl like this. Alright, now let's add the rest of the buttermilk. And see, it's not gonna hurt anything because it's so thick. A little bit sticks to the bottom anyway. Now let's see if I can get the rest of the flour in without making a mess. Sometimes it's hard with these bowls. I just shake it until it all falls in there. And I always spill lately. I used to never do that. I kind of lost my good baking ability. And in between, while it's mixing, I always go and wash my dishes. Sometimes we use a dishwasher, sometimes we don't. So let's mix this up. And make sure it's mixed well. Looks pretty thick. Okay, I'll finish the rest with the... So let's move over to the stove, and we'll figure out which pan to use. Final mix. Make sure there's nothing... My mixer's really good at not leaving things at the bottom. It mixes very well. I think I'm going to just play it safe and use the my Nordic ware pan. Sometimes I have trouble with these coming out as nicely as I like. Sometimes I'll leave them in the pan too long too. So let's just pour it in here. It's pretty thick. It's like a lot like a pound cake. And it's a beautiful batter though. I think what's going to be really good about this cake is the glaze. Let's turn this around. And I've even used the shortening in the flour method before also, and I had a little trouble one time, but I think I left it in the pan too long. That's why. Yeah, I think I definitely have to use this pan. Now I'm just going to scoop the rest out. I love the spatula. It took me forever to find. I had a favorite one, but it got torn up. And it took me forever to find this one. I can't remember. It says something on it. I can't see without my glasses, but I don't remember where I got it from. But it really is the perfect size. And I'm just going to smooth this out the best I can. And it's getting late. I got to put this in the oven. Just bang the rest out. Sorry about the annoying noise. All right. Tap it a little bit. And I'm going to put it in the oven. It says about 60 minutes. So I'm going to probably put about 50, and then I'll start checking it. And glaze. Now, you want to have a 1 stick of butter out to be room temperature. And it calls for 1 cup of cream cheese. I'm just going to let this get to room temperature, then measure it in a cup, I guess. This is 8 ounces, so I'm sure it's a cup. And you're going to need a little vanilla extract, 3 cups of confectioner sugar, and your coconut and pecans or almonds, and about 2 or 3 tablespoons of cream or milk. But we'll figure out the consistency once the cake's baked. But I just wanted to show you that you will want to take these ingredients out to get to room temperature. Now it's time to cook supper. Supper video. I just want to show you that I actually want to make a fried chicken video, but I wasn't ready yet. But I've been having this marinade for a couple of days in my refrigerator, so it's going to be really tasty. So you could saute this first, or I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to dump this in. Because basically I'm going to cook this, and then I'm going to debone it, and then take the skin off, and then we're going to use the broth. I want to make a garlic cream sauce. So you could put water in here. I just want extra flavor, so I'm going to put a little chicken stock. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that I'm going to, only with 2 pieces of chicken, I'm going to try to stretch it out. I might use egg noodles or rice. I'm just going to use all of this, and I'll save the extra. I love these kind of chicken stock. So I'm going to put the lid on it. It shouldn't take long. And I could have deboned it actually myself and then put the parts in the freezer to make me a chicken bone broth. I have some in the freezer, but today I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to just go ahead and cook this. I'm going to do 14 minutes. Just the cake out. We have to let it rest 10 minutes, and then we're going to flip it out. But we need to go ahead and make the glaze. We're gonna make 1 glaze, and we're gonna poke holes in the cake and pour it over. Then wait 10 more minutes, pour another one over, and then I'll show you what we do at the end. I put a brick of cream cheese, a stick of non-salted butter, and I have about 3 cups of powdered sugar. I didn't measure exactly, and a little bit of vanilla extract. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this, and then see the consistency. Then we'll add a little cream. It's nice and creamy, and it's. The directions, to be honest with you, are a little confusing on this recipe, so I'm just going to kind of do what I want. But when you add the coconut and the nuts, you serve that with each piece of cake. But first we're going to thin this out so we can pour this over the cake. So I'm going to add some cream. You could add milk, half and half, whatever you have. Oh, I need to open this one. And it's almost time for me to flip the cake out. I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons. And I'll mix this up and a little bit more. Still a little bit thick. I'm going to add about 2 more tablespoons. And I can always add more powdered sugar if I wanted to thicken it up after I pour the glaze on. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of milk because it's thinner. You just kind of play with the consistency, because you want to be able to pour it. It's probably going to make a mess. We all know about this recipe. I know the cake looks amazing. I think that's all I'm going to add. And then next we'll see if we can tip the cake out. But actually it's very hot, so I'm going to do it like this. Voila. perfect this time. So happy. So now we're just going to poke some holes in it. And my glaze is probably not thin enough, but I'm just going to go with it. It's still going to be delicious. It feels, and I tasted the glaze, and it's not too sweet at all. But you want to put one layer on. I probably should have put some parchment paper around here, but I'm kind of in a hurry, so I'm just kind of winging it. See, my glaze is pretty thick, actually. It's not going to seep in those holes, but we're going to put it on, and then we're going to wait 10 minutes. I'm going to let this melt. I don't want to put too much so it doesn't get all over my plate. And then we'll add some more. See, it just melts into it. Let me clean up my mess, and I'll be back. I went ahead and mixed my glaze didn't harden up, but I went ahead and mixed my coconut and my nuts. And this is so delicious. And I'm going to save extra for a slice. So I'm going to slice it and do a taste test. And I have a feeling it's not that pretty, but it's going to be really delicious. Okay, though, this is the cake. Look at the texture. Oh, my goodness. Now, my glaze might be a little bit off. I'm not really. But the texture of the cake. Oh, and it's so delicious. Really buttery. Moist, and light. And the almonds and the pecans really go well, and the coconut toasted. This is definitely a recipe to keep. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry I was confused about the glaze. It didn't come out perfectly, but you're supposed to save it on the side and then add it to your piece of cake, and I just wanted to put it on top of mine. But this is really a recipe you need to try. The texture is it's just beautiful. I love when cakes turn out this way. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.